Well, hey there, kiddos. Today we're going to talk about how to graph using M and B. So let's review a few things from yesterday really quick, or today. You practiced it in class. Slope-intercept form, if you will remember, is y equals mx plus b. It is just a representation of an equation of a line, and this is one of the ways to write it. It's the most common. We'll use it the most often. And in this form, m represents the slope, and b represents the y-intercept, which is why it's called slope-intercept form. And if I know those two things, I can graph a line because I can plot 2 points and that's all I need, and then I can make a line. So let's practice. We want to graph a line with a slope of 1/3 and a y-intercept of 0.6. Well, that means that my y-intercept is right here at 0.6. And then my slope gives me directions. This 1/3 tells me I want to go up 1 and then to the right 3 to get to another point. So I'm going to start at my y-intercept. I'm going to go up 1 and over 1, 2, 3, and there is another point on my line. If I wanted to go backwards, because sometimes that's a good thing to do, and I can make another point, instead of up 1 and right 3, I can go down 1 and left 3. Down 1 and left 1, 2, 3, and you see that that point still lines up with the other two. And so now I can connect these and I can make a line. Sometimes it's hard to get my line right on the point, so I can just move it. So there is your line that goes through those 3 points. And I just plotted my y-intercept and then used my slope to find another point. So let's do another one. This one right here says that my slope is 4. Well, since it's a whole number, I know that that means it's 4 over 1, so that I can write my slope so I have directions. And then my y-intercept is -3. Well, my y-intercept's down here at -3. My slope is 4 over 1, so I want to go up 4 and over 1 from the y-intercept. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. Or I can go backwards. I can go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and left 1. And there's my line. And again, I can connect it. So that I have a line on my graph. And that's all there is to it. So you take your y-intercept, you graph it, and then you use your slope to find another point. So we have a couple of others here. I'm going to have you pause just a second. I want you to try 3 and 4. I want you to graph them, plot the y-intercept, then use the slope, draw the line, and then come back and check and see if you have what I have. So here's what 3 and 4 should look like. Here's 3 and here's 4. They're both decreasing lines because they both had negative slopes, so you had to go down instead of up, but that's what they should look like. So check and make sure yours matches mine. Now for problems 5 through 8. It says 5 through 8. We probably won't do all of them, but we'll do a couple. It says to write each equation in slope-intercept form and then graph the line. Well, what that means is that in order for this to be in slope-intercept form, it has to look like this. Y equals mx plus b, which means I need the y by itself. So I've got to take this equation, 2x plus y equals 8, and I want to get this y by itself. Well, to do that, I have to get rid of this 2x, the whole thing as a term. Well, this 2x is positive, so to cancel it out, I'm going to subtract. And so what I end up with is y equals, and I'm going to put the x term first so that it looks like this, -2x plus 8. Well, here is my equation in slope-intercept form. My b is 8, so my y-intercept is up here at 8. And then my slope is -2, which is the same as -2 over 1. So I'm going to go down 2 and over 1 to plot a point, or backwards, up 2 and left 1. So that now I have my points and I can draw my line. And so that's what that looks like. And so the big thing to remember when you end up with an equation like this is that you want to get y by itself. That's really important. We can't do things with our calculator if the y is not by itself. There's a lot of stuff we can't do. So let's try number 6. I want this y by itself. So I am going to do it over here. I have -1/2 x plus y equals 4. Well, I've got to get rid of this -1/2 x. Well, the opposite of -1/2 x is +1/2 x. So I'm going to add it to both sides. So I end up with y equals, I'm going to put the x term first, 1/2 x because it was positive, plus 4. So now my y-intercept was 4, and my slope is 1/2. So up 1 over 2, or down 1, left 2. So I have my points, connect them, and make a line. And so that's how you do that. You get the y by itself, then you graph. Excuse me. So now let's look at number 7. Same kind of deal. We want to get y by itself, but this time the y has a number in front. It's going to change things just a little bit. So I have x plus 4y equals -8. All sort of ran together there. The first thing I'm going to do is subtract x from both sides. So I'm going to end up with 4y equals -8 minus x. But I want to put the x term first, because that's what I've been doing this whole time. But we're going to just go with it because I've already not put the x term first. Now I have to divide by 4 because there's a 4 still here connected to my y. So now I'm going to end up, when I'm going to do it over here so I have room, y equals, now I'm going to split this into pieces and I'm going to divide. -8 divided by 4 becomes -2. And then this has an invisible 1 in it. So -1 divided by 4 becomes -1/4 x. And so here is my equation, but when you're thinking about it in terms of slope-intercept form, your slope is the number in front of the x, your y-intercept is the other number. So in this problem, since I have written it backwards this time, the -2 is my y-intercept, because this -1/4 is in front of the x, so that's the slope. So my slope is -1/4 because of that minus sign. So I got to go down 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4. Or up 1 and left 4. And that's how you do that. But this is written backwards, so it's not, slope is not always the first number you see. It's always the number that is connected to the x. So you have to make sure that when you're looking at it, that that's what you're looking for, and you're not just grabbing the first number you see and saying, well, that's my slope. So here's what that line looks like. So now I've graphed it. So let's try number 8. So I have 2x minus y equals 3. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 2x, so I get my x term over here. We'll do this one backwards like the last one. So I have -y equals 3 minus 2x. Now there's a negative attached to my y. So what that means is there's a -1 right here. So I need to divide everything by -1. So we're going to pull it apart and do it in pieces. 3 divided by -1 is -3. -2 divided by -1 is positive 2x. So again, this one is backwards from the way it looks when you say it, mx plus b, but this is backwards. So my b is this -3. So here's my y-intercept. My slope is the positive 2 because it's connected to the x. So my slope is 2 over 1, so up 2 over 1, or down 2, left 1, either one. Or you can do both so that you can practice going forwards and backwards. And you connect them, and you make a line, and there is your graph. And so that's how we graph using M and B. You just find the slope, and you find the y-intercept, graph your y-intercept first, then use your slope to find another point. So 9 and 10 here says, given the graph, find the slope and the y-intercept, and then we're going to write the equation in slope-intercept form. Well, they gave you a picture. Right here is my y-intercept, so my y-intercept, or my b, is going to be at 4. To find my slope, I need 2 pretty points. So here's another one, and then I would just count my rise over my run. So I went down 2 over 1, so my slope is -2 over 1, or just -2. So if I want to put it in slope-intercept form, this becomes -2x plus 4. That's the equation of that line. So let's try number 10. Y-intercept is right here at 2. Here's a pretty point, so I'm going to find my slope, rise over run, so I went up 1 over 2, so my slope is 1/2. So the equation of this line is 1/2 x plus 2. And that's all there is to it. So we will practice this when y'all come to class tomorrow, and I will see you then.